local businesses in the capital city. This is 402 Business Insider. Local businesses in the capital city. This is 402 Business Insider with Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish on 1499.3 KLIN.
Hello, Lincoln. It's Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish. We are with the 402 Business Insider. It's normally on Saturdays from 10:30 to noon, but every once in a while we have a little hole in the schedule, and they ask us to come fill it for 30 minutes, and which is that's kind of enough of our stuff, right? 30 minutes?
That's
I'm
a
done
lot. Listening to you in 30 minutes.
Today we're just going to we always do these little business lessons in the news, just kind of little pieces of information that you can take with you and apply to your business. Or in this instance, if you want to be a business owner, this is the message for you today. So I was up in Omaha this week, and I was at this leadership thing. It was a leadership breakfast, and there's aspiring entrepreneurs and there's business owners, and we all get together and we just chat. And there was this gal, and she was sitting next to me talking to somebody next to her about wanting to start a business. And this business owner said, the best advice I can give you is just quit your job and get right in it and get started and just trial by fire.
Okay, so hang on. So you were acts of purposely eavesdropping.
Well,
and you heard, I'm kidding you.
Well, this lady was like me,
bad advice.
Extremely loud.
Yeah.
So you can't help but hear. And I audibly gasped.
Well, off the cuff advice like that, she has no idea their history. Do you have many saved?
Yeah.
1,000 questions come to my mind, but that's dangerous advice.
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible advice.
Yeah.
I understand that there is, when you're a business owner, being in it, so to speak, is the best learning experience you'll ever get.
Sure.
Because it's this trial by fire. You have to figure it out. You have no choice. All your everything you have is in this boat.
Yep.
But if you have a job, you need to start going through your progressions to make sure that your business is viable. And just quitting and going, I almost attribute it like, let's say I want to be a bomb tech, right? And you go, oh, well, Travis, the best advice I could get you is, if you want to learn how to defuse bombs, just get in front of a bomb face to face and start cutting wires. You'll figure it out. I mean, really, that's the advice that they gave this person.
Right. I mean, there wasn't enough information to begin with. I mean, I remember when the bomb squad got called on me in Prague. That's a whole nother show.
You have to tell that story
That's
one
a
day.
whole nother show. But I'll tell you, and there's not, we of course don't know what the relationship was, but without a ton of information, how do you know? Like in my case, when I bought my business, I purposely looked for an existing business where I could walk in and replace the owner who was already operating profitably and knew that I had the skill set to do that and move forward. That was a choice I purposefully made.
Sure.
And it made all the difference in the world. I thought, man, it was not long into the business where I'm like, thank God I had that and that established business and cash flow, because I don't know, had I started from the scratch, how that would have worked. It would have been next to impossible.
Yeah.
But I've seen that a lot, where you keep a job and something while you work into your entrepreneurship business that you're having, if you can do that or find a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
There's tons of ways to ease into it. And that really is the smartest way, because started as a side hustle. I mean, that's a great way to start figuring out the market. Do people want this business?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like as I scale it up?
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, what I have seen work is if you're married and the one spouse keeps the job, the other goes into entrepreneurial, that can work.
Yeah.
But equal, I've seen where they both quit their jobs and jump into it. And then a year and a half later, they have no health insurance because they can't afford it. Things go south, and then they're both looking for a job in 2 years with a whole ton of debt.
Yeah. Well, that's how we started our business. Shannon was working at a bank.
There you go.
And we had kids. And of course, you parents out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you can find daycare, all your money is going to daycare, gas. And it's like at one point you go,
speaking of
why am I working?
Right. Daycare is outrageous. That's a whole nother show.
That's a show.
Yeah.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, that's an area that I would look in, and we
Yep.
should probably find an expert and do a quick little show
Yeah.
on that, because that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Shannon left her job, and originally she came to work for me because I was working at KLIN full time.
That's right.
And we learned here's a little lesson for you. I now work for my wife, right? I can work for Shannon, and I can take orders from Shannon. Shannon cannot take orders from me. It doesn't work that way, right? And so her being my assistant lasted a month. Yeah. And I helped her start this business. So we kind of, that wasn't our plan, but that's how it worked out. And so then she ran this business on her own and built it on her own. But we had an income. We had a good income for about 7 years.
Yeah,
I was here while she was growing
and
the
you
business.
Need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is, in any industry that you go in, there's going to be an ebb and a flow. And it's real easy when business is good. It's real easy.
Yep.
But when you have rough months, rough quarters, rough years,
that's
where the rubber hits the road. And it's going to be good to have some type of income that you can fall back on.
Well, and if you have a seasonal business, that's a whole nother thing to think about. You might have 3 or 4 months of no income and then 5 months of great income. Planning becomes very important. But what happens in those 3 to 4 months if you run out of money? You haven't planned for it. You still have a lot of your fixed expenses. You're still going to pay your insurance monthly. You're still going to pay your mortgage monthly, or your rent, or if you haven't bought a building, whatever it might be. None of those things go away when it's slow. I remember one of my favorite calls when COVID hit was from the insurance company, like 4 weeks into COVID. And literally in my business, all events and everything was closed. So I lost 74% of my, and they call up and they're like, hey, this is so-and-so from the insurance company. I'd never heard from this person before, a large company. And it was very nice that they called, and she's like, we just want you to know that we're here for you. If there's anything we can do for you, And of course, I'm probably her 15th or 100th call for the day. And I don't think she expected this, but she called down, well, there is something you can do for me. And she goes, what's that? And I go, cut my insurance rate by 74% until the business comes back. And it was just silence on the other end. But I mean, you got to plan for those times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one lesson that we learned kind of the hard way, but when I was at KLIN, I did a lot of ag sales, and I was 100% commission when I was selling here. And so like the month of September, I'd make $25,000. In January, February, I'd make 2.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
They're all finally on vacation or taking a little time off.
Yeah. So, when October hit and the September paycheck was rolling in, and I was, going in high cotton, as my grandpa would say, you got to start squirreling away that money, because the famine is coming. And for me, it was coming in January, February, when nobody is buying any marketing radio for the business that I was in. So you have to plan for that. Seasonal businesses, especially.
Yeah. And another thing just has popped into my head too, is that learn really quick that no is a full sentence. If somebody's selling something you really don't need, it's okay to just say no, not no, but I would like to, if I could, it's just, and there's times you have to do that.
Yeah.
Including with certain clients sometimes when we talked about the scaling problems.
Yeah. Something else I tell people when they're getting ready to start is, and this is good advice, even if you're not a business owner or want to go into business, have an emergency fund, even if it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Just have $1,000 sitting aside.
Yeah.
Even, producer David here, I'm telling you this as well. Have $1,000 just squirreled away for emergencies. I mean, the transmission falls out or something like that. It's good to have. Now, if you're going to go into your business, start a business, you want to have 6 months worth of whatever you're earning now. You want that set aside for emergencies.
Yeah. Another thing I see is entrepreneurs that will start their business. And I would be surprised if you at some point didn't have to do this, but everybody gets a check at payroll, including yourself. And you have to hold yours.
Oh, yeah.
For a little bit till that next payment comes in or whatever. And you can do that when you're just all on your own too. It's like, well, this is my paycheck for the week, but I need to wait till so-and-so pays, or we've got a lot of business Monday and I'll cover it. Right. And that happens. What a lot of people don't think of, I think, when they start hiring is that they go, you cannot ask your employees to hold their check, or you probably should not.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a whole nother ball game money's tight. So yeah, having that, not only a safety net, but we talked about on a previous show one time, we were talking about having a certain amount of months of business money set aside. Same when you hire somebody, have a few months of their salary prepped and set aside, because
Absolutely.
in those tough months, like you in the marketing thing, when it was January and February, you're going to need that quite possibly.
Yeah. And I remember when you told that story, that was several years ago, when you had a drawer just full of paychecks, full of uncashed paychecks. And it made me laugh because when I first went into business, because when we hung out our shingle, when I went to work full time for Shannon, it was right before the market crash, 2007, 2008. Right.
Yeah.
And I had a drawer full of uncashed paychecks because I thought I was the only one in the world.
Mine was 2001. And the funny thing about it was that then when I could pay myself, I'd take that check I wrote that day, or the printer printed off that day, and take that and deposit. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is some good times right now. I can deposit some of those old checks. And I remember depositing a couple in the bank, called up and went like, they die after a certain number of months, by the way, isn't it? Like 6 months or something. It's like 180 days, I think, whatever that is, 6 months or even less. I don't know. But I call from the bank and they go, so it looks like you deposited a paycheck that had you lost that? And I go, no, actually, no, we're seeing that, but like, you're gonna have to rewrite it, you know? And I'm like, and then I just never did it because like, that's too big a hassle. But anyway.
Yeah. Gary, we see you're attempting to cash a paycheck from 1996. That doesn't work.
Right.
Well, we got a break coming up here, so let's run to that real quick. And then when we come back, I want to talk about, before you burn your bridge, a strategy. I want to give you guys something to start thinking about before you quit your job. Travis, let's have a plan. Let's have a strategy. So the first piece of advice I'm going to give people: moonlight, side hustle. One, the other, both might be a good idea. You've got to start building what your product, what your service is, and start kind of easing out there. Now, like you bought a business. And so what did you do before you bought the flower shop?
Or managed a flower shop.
Okay. Well, so there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So you are essentially, that's the advice,
right?
Is get in the industry, learn something about the industry, and work through it. Figure the ins and outs, because like in my marketing firm, I can do graphic design. I'm not very good at it, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can do commercials, audio commercials. I know how to cut film. I know back in the day when we used to use razor blades and tape. Jeez, I can cut tape, but I can do every single job within my company.
Yep.
And so can Shannon. You have to know the ins and outs. So moonlight, do some of that work yourself, so you can start figuring it out and start building a market, start talking to potential customers.
Yeah. I wanted to just open my own. I went to 8 different banks. The 8th bank finally loaned me the money. However, it was in the first 3, I think the 3rd one I went to, where they just said, I would advise you not to open your own business in this market with what you're doing, wanting to start a flower shop. You should look in finding somebody that wants to sell. And I was like, well, how do I go about that? So I just went around and asked. Sure enough, I walked into Burton's and he's like, yes, I've been looking for somebody. I want to buy, I want to sell for sure. And it worked out really good. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. I mean, that's a different approach, one that's a good approach.
That's a great approach.
But when you're just starting from scratch, man, you got to know. I mean, if you're going out and you're going to be plumber, istopleaks.com or whatever it is that you're going to do, right? You're a plumber and you go out there. Not only what differentiates you or whatever, but it's like, if you quit your job and you don't have the income saved that you need to make this work, what's going to happen when that phone doesn't ring? Because trust me, if I need a plumber, we don't even have phone books anymore. I don't Google it.
Yeah.
I go and I say, hey, Travis, a good plumber? Hey, David, a good plumber?
Yeah.
That's how I find a plumber. If you're brand new,
yeah.
Oh, I know a guy that just started. Oh, yeah, I want to use him or her there for sure. It's tough. You got to be prepared.
It is tough.
Yeah.
Validating a revenue stream. Like I said, this is something, don't just get promises. You need to land paying customers before you quit your job. Have contracts. Depending on what the business is, have contracts. Because I'm sure when you bought Burton's, or Terrell's. Which one did you buy first? Burton's. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you bought, there are contracts.
Oh yeah.
You had contracts,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had things in place to guarantee some sort of revenue stream. It might not have been enough to sustain, but at least you're only losing a small amount versus losing a massive amount every month starting from scratch.
Right.
And that makes it a heck of a lot easier. Plan your exit. So when it comes time, you've got your business, you've got your model, you've got your plan, you've got some customers. Now let's start planning your exit strategy to actually quit the job.
Right.
Can you go part-time? Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I
Something,
mean,
a little extra income here and there.
Absolutely. Sure. You might be
Yeah.
able to go part-time. You might not. You might take another part-time job or something like that. Start thinking about what an exit looks like. And then maybe 90 days before you actually quit, put that paycheck in the bank and pretend like it's not there. Because the difference between day one, 40 hours a week at your new job, and what you're doing now is the same. Whatever you're earning income-wise, doing it side hustle, doing it part-time, that's what you're going to be earning for a while. So why don't we just pretend like that paycheck didn't come in and see if you can survive?
Right. And that's a tough thing to do.
Oh, man. It's eye-opening. And this was something like, my son just bought a house and he was worried about, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. Okay, well, what is your payment going to be? Well, it's going to be whatever it was. Say it's $1,000 a month. Okay, great. So now what's your insurance going to be? What are your taxes going to be? Here are all the things that you have. Okay, so now it's going to be $1,400 a month. Great. Now put $1,400 a month away or give it to me, and I'll hide it away. So you know what that feels like. If you don't know what it feels like, trust me, you don't want to know what it feels like when you have no other option.
It's amazing how many times I'll be talking with a couple and their mortgage broker, and you look at it and you go, basically you're short what you spend at the coffee shop every month.
Yeah.
Or going out to eat every month or whatever. I don't want to just push it all off on coffee, but I mean, it's because they haven't done that. They haven't really looked at what's that going to take in order to do this. That's a very valid point.
Yeah. Well, and off of that, one thing that people don't realize, cash flow is the lifeblood of business, right? But cash flow is not what you earn or what you bring in. Cash flow is all about what you spend, right? So if you're going to the coffee shop and you're buying that $8 latte every day, well, guess how much money you're spending a month? That's a spending problem, not a revenue problem.
Correct.
And so if you want to get your hands wrapped around cash flow, you need to start looking at what you're spending.
Another little thing I see people do all the time is they're like, well, the reason I bought 10,000 widgets is they were so much less expensive than if I bought 5,000. Okay, but how many are you going to sell? Because now if you carry them for more than 90 days, you're losing money.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you have 4,000 widgets left at the end of the year that you didn't need in the first place, that you saved money on, that now you've lost a ton of money on.
Yeah. And
I see that too.
You might be paying warehousing space.
You might be whatever it might be.
Because when you buy big quantities, you get big discounts and that increases your margins. But there's also a cost to having that.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't just save that money and that's it. There's a cost to carrying it, because even if you, I don't know, let's say instead of spending $10,000 on inventory, you spent $3,000. So that's $7,000. Let's say you put it in a money market account, right? You're earning 3% interest. Well, that's a loss. So are you saving more than whatever you could put it in the bank for? Those are things you have to take into consideration.
Definitely.
Because you just go out and buy a bunch of inventory. It could really bite you. What was the movie? It was a Will Smith. He was the sales guy and he bought a whole bunch of inventory and he had these, like, they were machines for.
Oh, yeah. What was the name of that? That was a good show.
Was it Pursuit of Happiness?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
I think it was.
And so he's trying to sell off all this inventory that he had, that he sunk his
and that
life
no one
savings,
wants anymore.
and nobody needed it.
Right. Exactly.
You want to talk about a great business type movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, somebody stole one of his machines at one point, and that was like when he sold all the other machines, that was the 100% profit machine, and somebody stole it.
God.
It's like, oh, and it was a true story.
Sure.
It was an absolutely true story. That's go home and watch that movie because it is an excellent movie, and that is kind of what it is, owning a business.
Oh yeah, definitely. And when you lose your safety net, all of a sudden you've quit your job, you're now having to, and the big surprise, go out as a single person and buy health insurance for you, or if you're your wife and 2 kids.
Oh yeah.
When you've been used to getting it from where you worked. Huge surprise.
Yes.
Oh, what do you mean? In order to get an affordable price, I have to have a $17,000 deductible? Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Quite possible.
Yes, you do.
Right.
And start talking business insurance. Talk to somebody about business insurance, because that's something that nobody ever thinks of.
Mm-hmm.
When you go, well, geez, I'm just a marketing firm. Do I really need insurance? Yeah, you do. Because if you make a mistake, that means someone's going to fall back on you.
You can be sued.
A lawsuit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those are also things that you have to take into consideration. So before you quit that job, talk to a lawyer. Talk to a bunch of business people, and as soon as somebody says, just quit your job and do it, move on. Don't talk to that person anymore.
Well, and know your industry. Go to association. If the industry has an association, go to their meetings. Know what they're doing. Find out what's going on. What does work, hasn't worked. Know everything about it. That's what I did. It helped a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd done that for like 5 years before I did anything. And I'd met the people that were going to be my vendors. I knew what it took. I was managing a business. So I had a great idea of this is what it's going to take in order to make this work. Now, I mean, I still had a ton of challenges. Don't get me wrong. But the education of having that and the relationships with the people that I needed when I needed help made all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And you can start building those relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, what do your terms look like? Well, we're due on invoice, 15 days, 90 days, whatever it is. Start building that relationship. Start finding out, hey, I'm going to open up a shop and you're going to be a vendor. What are some of the hot products? What are people looking for? How do you see the industry changing for that particular vendor?
Right.
I mean, all great information that you need to take in and start considering and putting into your business plan. The other thing I tell people is don't just go ask your friends or your mom. You got the whatever,
especially not
beer. Yeah. Mom goggles, beer goggles, rose colored glasses, whatever it is. You'll find out that a lot of people don't want to hurt your feelings, and they'll go, oh, that's a great idea for a business. They might not want to hurt your feelings. So that could be a crucial mistake. Talk to regular people and find out if there is a need. Potential customers, find out what the need is.
Yeah, get outside of your sphere of influence.
Absolutely.
Is the most important thing.
Well, thanks for listening. Travis Filing with Transformation Marketing, Gary Tharnish, Home Design Real Estate Group. This is the 402 Business Insider. Normally 90 minutes long, where we talk to business owners every Saturday from 10:30 to noon. So tune in this Saturday, 10:30 to noon, and we will see you in a week.